I am divorcing you to marry the boss's daughter. Get out now.
My husband came home from work and slammed down a completed divorce application form on the table. We had just had our first child and I thought we were building a life together. But my husband threw these unbelievable words at me.
I'm going to be the next CEO. No hard feelings.
Unable to comprehend what he just said, I hugged our 3-month-old daughter and stood in disbelief. Before we knew it, he had kicked us out of the house. Outside, it was pitch black, and a cold wind was blowing like a storm. Unlock the door, please. I banged on the door several times, but my husband didn't come out. I was left holding my young daughter at a complete loss for what to do. My name is Jessica. I'm 27 years old. My mom divorced when I was little and raised me by herself. Just when I was planning to take care of her in return, she got seriously ill and passed away 3 years ago. Around that time, George, a co-worker 3 years my senior, was always there to support me through the tough times. Eventually, we started dating and got married 2 years ago. But then, just when I thought we would start a warm family life, my husband betrayed me. With no parents or friends to rely on, all I could do was wander a dark path, clutching my young child and my anxious heart. Then I started recalling my husband's recent suspicious behavior. It began 6 months ago. He suddenly said he was getting busier at work and started going on frequent business trips. Even on his days off, he said he had to go out for work golf.
Make sure to lay out my new golf attire. Shine my shoes and golf clubs.
You're golfing again? Why don't we spend the day off together?
Golf is part of my job. Besides, being with you doesn't benefit me at all. Just be quiet and do as you're told.
He never used to talk to me like that. Even when I argued, he wouldn't listen to me. I started to worry as my belly grew larger with our child. But once the baby is born, he will return to the kind person he used to be. I spend my days dreaming of a bright future for our family of 3 and praying for the growth of our unborn child. About a month after I gave birth, things changed. My husband began to scrutinize my struggling face.
You were never a beauty, but you have aged even more after giving birth. You really are unattractive.
I have to take care of the baby and the house. I don't have time for beauty care.
That's just an excuse. Ugh. Why did I marry a poor and unattractive woman? The only saving grace was your cooking, and I'm tired of that too.
Unable to argue back due to exhaustion, my husband told me he didn't even want to be in the same room with me and locked himself in the bedroom. Since then, I have been sleeping on the living room couch while taking care of our daughter. It's tough now, but things will get better once we have a bit more room to breathe. I just need to hang in there. I believed that someday we would laugh about these days. But then one night, I overheard my husband on the phone after coming home late.
Just broke up with you and you're calling already? That's cute.
Listening in, it seemed like he was talking to someone he had been on a date with. I confronted him and he quickly ended the call. What are you doing on the phone so late?
What? Stop eavesdropping.
He shoved his phone into his pocket as if he were a child hiding something. His behavior was just like that of a child who's done something wrong and is trying to hide it. Would you be talking at this hour if it was someone from work?
God, you're so annoying. I really got tricked by you. I married you thinking you had money. But you have none.
Just like that, he started spilling the shocking truth.
I married you for your dead mother's inheritance, you know?
What?
I never loved you. You are not good looking at all. That's why I'm marrying the daughter of the guy who owns the restaurant chain I work for. She's young and beautiful, unlike you.
Caught off guard by his sudden revelation, my husband continued,
I have already filled out the divorce papers. Grab them and get out. Now.
I stared at the pre-filled divorce papers in disbelief. I was at a loss for words. Wait, This has to be a lie, right?
I wouldn't joke about something like this. I proposed to the boss's daughter today and she said yes. So, we're done.
Are you serious? You can't just divorce me like this. Explain yourself.
All those business trips, all those golf outings, all lies. I've been dating her. I'm going to take over her father's business and become the next CEO. No hard feelings.
I felt as if I had been struck by a hammer. Unable to find the right words, I clung to our daughter as he forcefully dragged us both out. Stop! Let go of me!
I'm getting rid of the nuisances in this house. Hurry up!
Take your hands off me! There was no way to overpower him. My daughter and I were kicked out with nowhere to go. The outside was frigid, almost as if our white breaths would freeze. Unlock the door, please, George! I knocked and rang the bell multiple times, but he never opened the door. I felt utterly lost, holding my young daughter in my arms. I can't let her freeze. I need to find some shelter. The warmth of the baby cradled in my arms was the only thing giving me strength. I had no time to even grab my phone, let alone make a call. But when I checked my apron pocket, I found my wallet stuffed with $30 from my earlier shopping. With a bit of hesitation, I walked into a small hotel I happened upon and asked the elderly couple at the front desk, "How much is a room for the night?" The room cost $50, way more than I had on me. As I was about to leave, the elderly couple asked what had brought me here. The moment I opened my mouth to explain, tears started flowing. They sat me by their warm fireplace and comforted me. After hearing my story, they let me stay for just the $30 I had and even fed me a warm meal. They even provided diapers for my daughter. The next day, while heading home to talk things out with my husband, his car drove past me with another woman in the passenger seat. Rushing home, his car was nowhere to be found. Not only that, the house was locked and I couldn't get in. I had no choice but to wait for him in the cold garage. When he finally returned in the evening, he ignored me entirely, and I was turned away again. In the end, he gave me a meager severance and divorce papers. And that was it. Soon after, I heard he had remarried, this time to his boss's daughter. Still, something nagged at me. The woman in the passenger seat. She seemed strangely familiar. What if suddenly I burst into laughter? I get it. I couldn't stop laughing at the thought that karma would surely catch up to him. First things first, though, I found live-in work and committed myself to supporting my daughter. Before I knew it, 10 years had passed. My once infant daughter was now thriving and even helping out with household chores. Then one day, I was near my workplace. A man suddenly called out from behind me.
Jessica, I finally found you.
You? Why? It was my ex-husband, panting as though he had run to me. He was wearing a torn, dirty shirt and mud-caked pants. His cheek was swollen red, as if he had been punched.
Please, lend me some money. I borrowed from some dangerous people. Next time, a beating won't be enough.
Why? Did you marry the boss's daughter? Weren't you said to be the next president?
About that.
He started to explain. After marrying his boss's daughter, he had received a VP position and lived comfortably. But gradually the business declined. Restaurant after restaurant closed down and eventually the company was sold.
Well, every restaurant is struggling to get customers these days. If that chain restaurant hadn't opened up in the neighborhood, we would be just fine. Can you lend me some money?
My ex-husband looks at me with teary eyes full of hope. Just then, Linda, an employee who has been by my side, chimes in. "Boss, it's almost time." His eyes nearly pop out of his head as he grips my arm tightly.
What? Why are you the boss?
Ignoring the pitiful tone of my ex-husband, I shake off his hand and he steps in front of me.
What's going on? Explain.
His eyes looked almost bloodshot. I could have walked away, but memories of past hardships surged within me. Maybe now's my chance to get back at this man who left me and my daughter. With my emotions in check, I calmly explained how I climbed the corporate ladder. After he kicked me out, an elderly couple let me stay at their hotel when I only had $30 to my name. I started working and living there. The food I made for them every day was well received, so I honed my culinary skills and took over the cooking duties at the hotel. Soon, my cooking became a hit and the hotel became known as a comforting place with delicious food, attracting more guests. The elderly couple, having no heirs, asked me to take over the hotel. I was hesitant because I had no experience in management, but I decided to accept their offer to repay their kindness.
What do you know about running a business?
I have attended seminars and spent sleepless nights studying hard. Now I own not just the hotel but 10 restaurants across the country known for their delicious food. I have even started getting featured on TV and in magazines.
What could it be?
My ex-husband glares at me as if he's realized something.
Was the restaurant next to mine one of yours?
Come to think of it, one of my outlets might be right next to the restaurant run by my ex-husband's father-in-law. I always wanted to succeed and get my revenge on him, but it seems like I've been cornering him without even realizing it. Oh, is that your restaurant? What a small world.
You knew, didn't you? I'll sue you for business interference.
We are running our business fair and square. Who do you think you're hurting by saying that? After all, his restaurant has been on the decline for years, using subpar ingredients and receiving poor reviews for taste. We have always worked hard to offer fresh, delicious food to as many people as possible. If you tried to cut corners because ingredient prices were rising, it backfired. You can't fool a customer's taste buds. Unable to retort, my ex-husband blocked my way as I was about to leave.
Let's forget about the past and move on. I forgive you. Let's get back together.
I don't need your forgiveness. How could you say that while you're still married?
She's not a wealthy CEO's daughter anymore. I'll divorce her right now. Besides, she's a huge liar.
Oh, you mean her good looks are due to plastic surgery?
What? How do you know that?
She was my classmate. I recognized her when I saw her in his car before. She had changed dramatically since our student days, surprising everyone at our reunion.
Why didn't you tell me? I was shocked when I saw her old pictures. I put up with it because she had money, but if she's poor and ugly, I don't need her anymore. Let's start over.
I was utterly disgusted by my self-centered ex-husband. It's obvious he's counting on my money. You were happy to leave your ugly wife, remember? And you even abandoned our young daughter. Why would I ever forgive you? Turning my back to him, I walked away and entered my office building. Unable to let go, he followed me and started yelling in the lobby.
Don't abandon me!
This is my workplace. If you disrupt it, I'll call the police.
Don't be so cold. We were a good couple, weren't we?
Stop kidding yourself. If you show up again, I won't hold back. He was escorted out by a large security guard and sat defeated on the curb. In the end, he divorced a woman who was a CEO's daughter. He later found work as a live-in janitor at a friend's office. Hopefully, he'll regret his past as he moves on with his life. It would be nice if he could polish his soul along with the floors. Meanwhile, I'm thriving in my career. We now even provide childcare facilities at work, offering jobs to single mothers like I was back then. My daughter says she wants to become a businesswoman like me and is currently studying. I am really looking forward to that day.